Okay, let's see if we can work out these light guns for aliens. Now, Demulshooter? God, I've never been able to pronounce Demul. I always say dual shooter, but I know that's not it. So Demulshooter, this is what my Demulshooter folder looks like when I downloaded it. I had an earlier version that didn't have all these GUIs and diagnostic tools and whatnot, but these are really good to have when you're trying to work out why the guns aren't responding. If you don't have a version of Demulshooter that has these in it, let me know. I'll upload my copy to my Google Drive and send you a link. But you definitely want to look at these two programs, Diag, it's a diagnostic tool, and the GUI version of Demulshooter. If you look at the diagnostic program, you'll see that there's a drop-down window at the top, and if you select it, you see a bunch of hardware IDs, right? Now, 1601 and 1602 are your guns. Now, if you see multiples of them, this is a great screen to double check which one's your actual gun. So if I start with 1601 is always your first gun, 1602 is always your second. If I click on the first 1601, you can see that it's got 8 buttons. So that's not my gun. Also, if I wave the gun on the screen, the mouse is moving, but not the actual target, because the gun's in mouse mode. But if I select the correct gun, which in all cases I found has always been the last one on the list, the last 1601 on the list, if I select that one, you can see it's only got 3 buttons. If I move the gun, I've got the crosshair. So this is my player 1 hardware ID. Same thing with 1602. It's the bottom 1602 for me. So that is my player 2 gun. So now I've identified them, I can close this program. And what you want to do is you want to open the Demulshooter GUI, and you want to make sure that you have a profile set up that has the correct guns for player 1 and player 2. So I go to player 1 config from the dropdown, and I want to make sure that I select the correct Aimtrak device. And again, it's going to be the one at the bottom. If I select the one, like say the one at the top here, you see it's got 8 buttons. That's not it. But if I select the bottom 1601, it's only got 3 buttons, and sure enough, if I point the gun at the screen, I'm seeing stuff move, and if I click the triggers, I'm seeing them light up. So that's player 1. So what I'll do is make sure that you save config for player 1, and then do the same thing. Select player 2 config, double check that when you click your player 2 gun, that is the gun that is registering, so you'll save the config for player 2. Now you know that Demulshooter has the profiles for your actual 2 guns. So once Demulshooter is happy, you go into the folder where you've got aliens, and I just run a batch file that initiates Demulshooter and runs the aliens game. This is what my batch file looks like. It just changes directory to where I have Demulshooter. It starts Demulshooter with the arguments for aliens, which is target global VR, ROM, aliens. And then it changes to the directory where I have the alien game, and it runs my aliens executable. My aliens executable is here. It really just, I think it just does this. It's, let's see, nope, that's not it. My aliens executable is it just runs the game, and there it is. That's what the guts of my aliens executable looks like. It runs the game executable and puts an argument in so that the escape key closes it. That's it. Nothing fancy. So my batch file starts Demulshooter, configures it for aliens, and then starts my aliens executable. And that's it. Once you do that, of course, in-game, you want to go to the game settings and calibrate the guns. But you should see, when you go into gun calibration, when you wave the gun around, it will, you'll see the values change. You know what? I'm actually just going to show that to you right now. So again, you probably know this part already, but if you press the number 5 button, which I have mapped here, it gets you into the test menu. And if I go into test menu and go to gun test and calibrate, if you've got Demulshooter set up correctly, when you move the gun, you're going to see these values here moving. So, of course, if mine are already calibrated, but if you need to calibrate, you might not see the crosshair moving because it could be off screen. But as long as these values are moving, you can go ahead and recalibrate. There's an important note about calibration. It says press player 1 to calibrate player 1. So I'll do that. When you're calibrating, when those numbers at the top here are moving, if they go to 0, like there, that's 0, you're out of range. So you don't want to click your trigger when it's at 0. You want to move back on screen slightly and then click. Because if it's at 0, it's an out of range and won't calibrate that direction. So again, that's a 0, so I'll back down a little bit. There we go. And it's just that easy. Good luck.